This podcast is scheduled for one fall.
Whoa, who let you out of the basement? Let me do this. This podcast is scheduled for one fall, and I'm still not reading any of this other crap you wrote, so just click your buttons and start the show.
Hello, people, and thank you for joining us today on the Gimmick Table. I'm your host, Matt, and across from me, the Ralph Macchio to my Mr. Miyagi. He is Bats. How goes it today, Bats?
Really? Ralph Macchio? You don't even know his name?
Do you know the name of the character from the movie?
Yeah, his name is the Karate Kid. Duh.
Yeah.
It's Danielson. Daniel. That's his name. Yep.
All right. And we're just going to go ahead and skip right past this pop culture snafu. And momentarily, guys, we're going to be joined by our guest all the way from Indiana, Cole Radrick. But before we do, once again, it's coming up very soon. The Making Towns Classic coming to Nashville, Tennessee on May 12th, featuring 16 of the best women in professional wrestling today. And you're going to get 2 shows all in one night. And there's going to be just one winner. And great prices for these shows. You can get front row for $45, which are probably sold out at this point. Second row, though, $35. Third row, $25. And general admission, $20. And that price gets you into both shows. And you can get your tickets through PayPal at mikehales57@gmail.com. Or for more information, contact them first on Facebook by searching the Making Towns Classic or on Twitter at the MT Classic. And it's time, Bats. Let's get to the reason that we're here. Everybody, please join us in welcoming to the Gimmick Table. He is Cole Radrick. How goes it today?
I'm doing well, buddy. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's the middle of April, and we have snow in New York. It's a great day.
Hey, we got some snow in Indiana, so I feel you on that one, buddy.
All right, we're not
I'm
alone.
I'm ready to go fishing and not have to be worrying about snow.
Didn't you hear that? I don't know if you guys had that 7-day warm weather. That was spring. It's over with.
Yeah. We're going to forget all about summer and fall. We're just going to go right back to winter, which I wouldn't be surprised at this point. But we only had like 5 days of nice weather, which I loved. And now we're just back to this stupid shit we always get.
Yeah, someday we'll get some nice sunny days again.
Amen. That way you can just go to some baseball games and not have to worry about stuff.
We got to start really promoting that global warming.
No, today I was shocked. I was waking up and there was snow on my car. I was like, what is this? Come on, man.
Yeah, isn't there like some central place in like the United States where it's like they're under a snow storm? Like I think it's like Idaho or something. I don't know. I think I read one of my wrestling buddies was saying like they got trapped in a hotel and whatever. But I was like, man, it's like the middle of April. Like, why is this happening?
It's crazy.
Like global warming is a thing. Climate change is a thing. Like,
absolutely not. That does not exist. Don't talk about the blasphemy on this show.
Hey, and also the Earth is flat, but that's a whole different story.
It is, dude. Okay, think about it. If the Earth wasn't flat, when it rains, think about if you pour water on a ball, it drips off. But if you pour water on a plate, it pools up like the oceans. Think about it.
Oh my God. But why? Okay, how are you going to explain why? Okay, so does the sun move on an axis then? Or how does it work? Are we like a saucer in a microwave and the sun is just at a corner?
Think about it like a big dome TV screen and the sun just rolls around on top of it.
Yeah, okay, look, the Earth is a ball. I'm not getting into this.
I hope you know he's kidding. We 100% believe the Earth is round and that global warming is real.
Yeah, climate change is real. Global warming is whatever. Earth is not flat.
No.
And Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer. We covered all the bases. We're all good.
Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer.
Ted Cruz has to be the Zodiac Killer.
I don't know much about this whole theory, so if anybody wants to elaborate.
It's just, there's like a thing on like 4chan like a long time ago, which is like a meme like control-based website. It was like the prerequisite for Reddit.
Yes.
There's just like a whole bunch, like somebody created a whole bunch of like legitimate facts that could lead to Ted Cruz being the Zodiac Killer. So that's where that stems from.
Well, didn't during one of the debates, didn't Trump say like Cruz's dad could be the Zodiac Killer? Like, oh, they never caught him.
Yeah. Like that's what it's based off of. But I mean, it's Life's crazy.
Yeah.
I love conspiracies and stuff like that. Even though that's not more of a conspiracy, that's
Deep state, man.
I'll have to send you my new favorite
Alex
Alex Jones
Jones
video that I watched. By the way, there's a great video of like a folk band singing over Alex Jones or singing his words. Greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's really good. I was pretty amused.
Every time I feel sad now, that's what I go to.
Are you talking about the one where like he freaks out on the kid that chair and just keeps spitting?
Can
Is that the video, the Alex Jones
Can
video?
we play that on the air?
I think so. I think that's legit.
Are we allowed?
I mean, we'll give credit to whoever actually made this, but I mean, they posted it on the internet for everybody to share. We don't make any money off this show, so.
Yeah. I shared that out to you on Facebook, didn't I?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So,
I mean, it's the first time I've actually watched Alex Jones speak and not wanted to take a tactical bath after.
tactical bath. Two things. The great snowstorm that's going on is in Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin got pelted with snow. And in reference to Ted Cruz, I would kind of have to say Ted Cruz is like the equivalent of Toby being the Scranton Strangler in The Office.
It's possible.
I don't know if anybody...
It works. It works.
I remember the first time I saw that conspiracy theory, I was convinced. It blew my mind.
I mean, like, it's just gotta think, you know. The puzzle pieces are there, it's just are they the right size?
You can make them fit.
Yeah, if you have scissors.
Hey, that's all that matters.
As long as the overall picture is like a blurry picture, the puzzle pieces will eventually fit together fine.
Exactly.
Okay, I found it. So that wasn't too bad.
Now these are legit word for word quotes because they show the video and you could like see that he's actually saying this stuff. So they just kind of like remixed it, but these are the actual words Alex Jones has said on his show.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them
I'm
on
with
video.
Oh,
I'm with it.
Oh, wait, it gets better.
Creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur.
God.
In a blue vampire pot, then the goblins are hobbling round, coming after us.
alright, turn this off. We're done with this,
Oh
guys.
my God, Jesus Christ. Holy hell.
We're such self-centered crap, we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions upon
Who made this? We gotta give them credit.
Super Deluxe. So you can find them on Facebook at Super Deluxe Video. So it's a community. That's where I found it. That brings me joy every time I'm sad because I know Alex Jones is crazy.
Yeah, he's lost his mind. It's amazing.
And when his wife was trying to get more alimony, he just claimed the whole thing was an act.
Yeah, because his wife said he was like mentally unfit to take care of his kids, and he goes, "No, the entire thing I do is a character." But like, she has videos of him just freaking out in like normal life. That's how he lost custody of his kids.
And
Fun fact, I read about that.
You know, it's like, it's okay if it is a character, whatever. You're just totally not credible.
Moral of the
Exactly.
story here: if you want to be a character, go into professional wrestling, not conservative
Not
Yahoo.
Not far right.
Not InfoWars.
politics.
Yeah, pro wrestling, not InfoWars.
Exactly.
Don't go into anything with the word wars in it. It's just not good.
You're asking for trouble.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
I guess
You're
unless
right,
it's
you're right.
like, you know, a sporting event.
yeah, it's the name of the wrestling event, I guess. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
All right, whatever. Point debunked. Anyways.
That was a good segue into the
yeah,
wrestling.
we
though.
got some segue going here.
Yeah, we got a little bit of karaoke, got a little bit of conspiracy theories. And, we hit the weather.
And feel
It
free.
was like an old-fashioned radio show, boys.
Yeah, it is I feel like the most casual wrestling podcast ever. But we're not from.
That is your weekly update at the Gimmick Table. 2 weeks after it happened.
And Ollie with the weather. It's going to snow.
Everybody look like ants.
So, we're not from Indiana. Kind of, in your own words, tell us what the whole wrestling scene is like down there.
Indiana is a very different state when it comes to wrestling. I feel like in New Jersey, like you have GCW and like Jersey All Pro and Combat Zone, of course. So you have like all these like very, I want to say like a high, not high spot, but they're like a very kind of like a super indie style. Indiana is very more of where it's about catering to the fans. So there's a lot of storytelling in Indiana. So that's where we're thriving at in Indiana. Like we have a lot of like very good wrestlers in the area. We have like Jonathan Wolf, Sean Kemp, Trip Cassidy, Dale Patrick's, Ace Perry. I'd like to think I'm included in that group. Like, we're all the guys who can do the super indie style. We're trying to show that Indiana can be multi variable. I think the word would be that we could do any type of style for any type of fans. Like guys like Trip Cassidy wrestle from here to Battle Club Pro in, I think that's your company's name, I might be wrong, up in New York, and then Florida. Like, I want to be one of those guys that whenever I go to whatever company I go to, I'm able to do whatever I need to do, like whether it's high spot wrestling or it's old school Southern style. Indiana is just a very hybrid of a lot of wrestling, so that doesn't seem like in Indiana. Like, we're slowly coming into like this new age of wrestling where it's a lot of action, a lot of fast pace, a lot of ooh and ah, and where it's sometimes less about the story and more about the moves of the area.
And that's kind of cool because, like you said, every area is different. Fans everywhere you go kind of have a little different taste in what they want. And to a promoter, somebody who's able to come in and work with anybody because they have a hybrid style of wrestling, it's only going to help you grow and expand, your brand.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things like I'm able to say I'm able to do because I've been able to in my career, like I've been able to do like a lot of hybrid stuff. Like I've competed in death matches, I've competed in regular hardcore matches, I've competed in submission only matches, I've competed in knockout only matches, I've done regular matches, I've done technical, I've done high flying. Like I've wrestled guys that are 6'5", 350 pounds, and I've wrestled guys that are like 5'2" and 130 pounds. And like, no matter what, I'm able to have the same different style. Recently at IWA, there was like a 4-week span where I had 2 matches every single night. Like it would be like a way we would get into like I would have one match at the beginning of the show and one match either at before the second intermission or after the second intermission. And I was able to it was posted on one of the guys that does reviews, Chad. He's like, Cole Radrick was able to have a different match every single time. That's one of the things I pride about myself is I'm non-repetitive. I'm able to, I push myself to think outside of the box to bring myself as a complete different competitor than whatever you'll see on a show. So I think that's what's going to be like one of the things in the long term that when people look at me, they're like, okay, if we need a high flyer, Cole Radrick can do that. If we need a brawler, Cole Radrick can do that. If we need a technical wrestler, Cole Radrick can do that. If we need somebody that just does hardcore stuff, like Cole Radrick is able to do that. So you're going off of being able to do a lot of things and that helps your product. Like that's one of the things, if you ask me, I do very, very well.
Exactly, and it doesn't only give you the ability to learn a lot, it also shows to people a willingness to learn and that you're somebody who, if the opportunity is knocking, you're going to be the first one to step and be like, hey, I can do that.
Absolutely. Like, anytime there's something, like, out of the box or wacky or, like, there's somebody's like, look, I don't even know if, like, somebody can get this over. Like, I want to be that guy because that's my challenges. I want to be the guy that does something that somebody thinks is going to be hard because that's what I want to leave behind is, like, I was able to do anything at any point in time when it was needed, how it was needed done. Like, that's what I want to leave behind.
That's a very cool way to look at it, man. Now, before you ever thought about becoming a wrestler, when did you first fall in love with wrestling as a fan?
My first memory, of wrestling was, my parents had divorced. I was living with my mom in her apartment, and my brother and sister. The intro to Monday or Raw is War had hit, and I was like super excited. I was like, "Ooh, what is this? Like, this is really cool!" Like, as the season, like Big Show choking Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Rock Bottoms, and whatnot. And I was like, "Man, this is like awesome." And my mom pulling me out of the room and saying, like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to watch that." So instead, she would just have me watch Celebrity Deathmatch in her room, which I don't know. But I feel like Raw is War would have been a little bit better for like a 4-year-old me. So like that, from that point on, like I knew what it was in my head, but I never watched it. Then there was like right before WrestleMania 21, there was like a Undertaker DVD where it was like it was the best of his WrestleManias or whatever, like led up to him and Kane. I talked about how he was a biker badass or whatever, and led up to him being Kane. It was on DirecTV pay-per-view, and my parents bought that because they wanted to go and do stuff. Like I think they went to gamble or something, and they paid for that, and they left me at home. I was like 9, but I left me at home alone, which whatever. But like I watched that, and I became like entranced by the Undertaker. Like this guy was like a mythical creature that spawned people from the dead or whatever. And then like after that, like I was instantly hooked. Like I wanted to watch anything wrestling, everything wrestling, like all the time. So then, like, I would expand from watching one pay-per-view to watching Raw and SmackDown after my parents went to the bedroom because I had a curfew at like 8. Well, I would sleep and I would act like I was asleep till about 8:15, 8:30. I'd just flip on the TV with the volume all the way down, and I would just watch Raw and SmackDown silently and just like become entranced by it. So that's how I got introduced to wrestling.
All right. Well, first, unfortunately, I cannot play the Raw is War theme on the air.
Yeah, I don't think they'll let that fly anywhere.
Yeah, that's not. Sorry.
Deep sigh. I was really excited. Like I was like, man, they've been all over the themes. Maybe if I mention it, like
I don't think.
I still say the Papa Roach Raw theme's the best from like 2003 to 2000, like what 6 or 7. You know what I'm talking about?
When
the
Papa Roach was relevant.
I'm trying to. There's a hiatus. There's a time that I didn't watch wrestling, basically due to not having access to television, and there was a good couple of years where I just lost all interest pretty much, so I don't recall that.
Oof, yeah, it was about 2006, 2007. I just remember, like, it was the same time where Jericho had left the WWE, and Cena had just beat him in, like, the Loser League town on Raw. Like, that was, like, the first Raw, like, I remember watching, like, Raw and SmackDowns before that, but, like, that was the first Raw that, like, actually stuck with me. It was the one where Jericho got fired. And he got tossed into the back of a trash truck by Stone Cold, I believe. And I was like, oh, shit, like, this stuff's cool as hell. Like, that's wild.
That's entertaining.
Like, as a kid, like, I was the biggest fan of Three Ninjas, the movie.
Yes.
So, like, when I saw, like, pro wrestling, I was like, whoa, it's like Three Ninjas in real life. Like, this is sweet. Like, hell yeah. Like, I never watched, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or nothing, but, like, Three Ninjas were my shit. Like, I was Tum-Tum as a kid.
Dude, 3 fucking ninjas.
Right.
Holy there was, and 3 ninjas, kickback? Yeah? Is that the
Yes. My favorite one is, like, the Indian one where, like, they're at the mill or whatever, or they're trying to plow over the lands. And it begins off with that, like, the fight in that little pizza rink or whatever.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Man.
With the pool table?
Dude. That.
Oh, my God.
Yo, the choreography in that movie, like, the fighting for these kids to be doing, that was pretty intense. I mean, yeah, I'm sure if I watched it now, it'd be easy to pick apart. But back in the day, you're like, I want to be doing this. Like, these are superhero kids.
Yeah, like, Rocky broke a dude's leg. Like, that was sweet.
Oh, man.
Rocky at 10 years old did not give a fuck.
I mean, he did kind of feel bad, though.
Now you're only 20,
Hell
right?
No. Why would I feel bad? You're an old-ass man trying to kick a 10-year-old's ass, and he breaks your leg. That you deserve that shit.
Yeah, but they were kids. They didn't know what they were doing. They were brainwashed.
They were made cherry.
They were kind of. If you look at it, they did get brainwashed into little like fighting machines.
I mean, you're not wrong to a point.
This week on Gimmick Table Infowars, the 3 ninjas.
Oh, your kids being brainwashed and the little karate monsters by the globalists.
Featuring Cole Radrick has been postponed. They're just going to talk about 3 ninjas and action movies this week.
Well, generally, the show goes off the rails a lot.
Yeah, tangents is key. But you said you're only 20, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I turned 21 in August.
So you weren't even born when these movies came out.
Oh, man.
I was
watched
born
these in the theaters.
97?
Yeah, I was born in 97 of August.
So yeah, 92 and 96 are when these movies came out. I feel old, man. After this interview, I think I'm gonna just go grab.
I know. I was like, I watched those in theaters, and now that you said that, I was like, I wish I never told people that I was like at least 7 to 10 years old. No, oh man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a piece of shit, guys.
No, you're good. You're good. You're fine. It's just
it's cool that those movies were still like cool for you to watch as a kid, like even 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah,
they still hold up.
Those were my favorite movies. Like that's all I ever watched. Three Ninjas, and there's NASCAR Speed Racers or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? It was like a cartoon that was on, and like the early O2s was like it was like the PBS I forget the channel name.
O2.
It was like NASCAR Speed Racers, and it was like a cartoon about like NASCAR in the future. It was so sweet.
I
still have them all.
I vaguely remember.
To watch it.
My little brother, I think, watched that show.
I was 19 in 2002. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, some shows that I still probably could have stopped watching at a certain age.
All right, we're gonna save that for another day.
Yeah.
I probably didn't need to be watching Blue's Clues when I was 23.
That's
Well, it depends on which Joe you had. If it was okay to watch it.
I don't think it was on anymore at that point. Is it still on the air? I don't think it is.
they're trying to bring it back.
Yeah, that's why I know this. But
Yeah, you know more about Blue's Clues than I
They're
do.
trying to bring it back because John Cena wants to be Steve.
Yeah, he wants to be Steve.
And then
It was Joe, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Before Steve, it was Joe.
I think it was Steve then Joe.
Yeah, Joe's his bro.
Yeah, Steve had the cocaine
Joe's
problem.
Joe's one of the front, right?
Steve went
Joe's one of
to
the
rehab.
Steve was sniffing up all of Blue's Clues and had to go away.
No.
Let's just say Mrs. Salt probably should have been called Mrs. Cocaine.
Yeah.
Does that make the pepper heroin?
Do you think he looked at Blues because he was like, you don't want no part of this shit, you?
But
That's how bad feelings and the good feelings.
that's who Cena should have fought at WrestleMania instead of The Undertaker. It should have been Steve from Blue's Clues.
It should have been Steve. I mean, he probably would have won in the same amount of time, lost in the same amount of time. But I mean, I would totally pay to see Cena drop to fucking Steve that quickly.
Oh, that would be great. I wonder what his finisher would be.
I don't even want to know at this point, honestly.
Blue Skidoo. I don't know what that would be. But...
Bulldog, maybe? But Blue's is like a hound, if anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a blue dog, so...
You can teleport into paintings.
Yeah.
But
I can see that.
the dog's not...
Well, Blue is... Wait, isn't Blue a
An
girl?
actual wrestler, I would want him to be more of like a Moondog character, like from the old like territorial days. You know what I'm talking about? Moondog Spike was one of them. They were like, I think it was Crockett Promotions that they mainly wrestled at, or the Carolinas. Like they were like a tag team, and they were really good. And then Andre the Giant squashed.
What? Well, do they like
That's Bloomington,
talk, or
right?
do they just stare at you like menacingly?
They'd like grumble, like inaudibly. They like, yeah, exactly. Like, have you ever seen the South Park when like there's like an old man like grumbling and there's like that's all they ever say, and then there's a tobacco spit that flies out. Yeah, exactly.
And you're from Bloomington, right?
Spencer. It's literally like a stone's throw away from Bloomington.
So
So like I'm just on the outskirts.
some bands I like are from Bloomington.
Well, yeah, what's that?
Operation Cliff Clavin.
Mm-mm.
They're old. Like, I'm old, remember, so, like, I don't think they're still around, like, Planet X Records. I think they're all based out of there.
Yeah, I haven't really heard of them. The only band I know out of Indiana that like I'm really following into is a band called Skate Better. They do like one of their theme songs, Cherry Dynamite's actually like this one of my theme songs that they produced. That's what I'm looking for. So that's the only really like bands I know out of Indiana. But that's because I'm just like a punk hipster nerd, whatever.
Well, these are a lot of like folky punk bands, so they're pretty cool.
Hey, I mean, I'm into learning about new punk music. I'm always down for that.
Yeah, I'll send them. I'll try to find something and I'll send it to you. All right, so we're 26 minutes into this, right? One question about wrestling. But when did you decide you wanted to become a wrestler?
You were talking about how you kind of faded out of wrestling. Like in the 6th grade, like a lot of people used to start picking on me for like liking wrestling. They're like, oh, it's like it's not what it is. It's not like a true competitive sport. Like all these people put these images in my head, and they just used to make fun of me, and they would rag on me. Like kids would just laugh at me. And so in the 7th grade, like whenever I got to middle school, I was like, I'm just not going to tell people like I want to be a wrestler. Like this is not the cool thing. And I remember looking up. I found a guy by the name of J.C. Bailey. He was like a deathmatch wrestler. He did a couple things for CZW and IWA and Big Japan Wrestling. And I was like, man, like this guy's like crazy. He's doing all these like crazy like glass spots and barbed wire spots. And through that's where I found independent wrestling. Like I went from J.C. Bailey to Drake Younger, from Drake Younger to Sammy Callahan, from Sammy Callahan to John Moxley. And like I started understanding what independent wrestling was. Well, come to find out, when I was like in 8th grade, or no, it was still 7th grade, I found out there's like a local independent wrestling show that came to my hometown. So I'm probably 12, 13-ish, maybe 14. I don't really know the age. I was about 13, was probably a good age. It was at the time in 7th grade, and I went to the promoter, and I was like, hey, man, like, how would I become like a part of the show? And he goes, oh, man, like, if you want to, help set up the ring, we might be able to get you in. I'm 13 years old, like, hell yeah. So, like, I'm going to do whatever I can to get into that ring. So he tells me to show up at noon the next day to set up the ring. All right, cool. So I had my dad drop me off at the building at 11:30 because I wanted to be early, making sure I was there to set up the ring. That way I could get time to get into the ring. And then he doesn't show up till 4. So mind you, for 4 hours, I'm standing outside of this building waiting for this guy. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have any way of like contacting anybody. The show is held outside at a baseball field, probably 5 minutes out of my town. So finally at 4, he shows up, and like me, him, and one other person set up this ring. And like we do another time, like another show, like a few months later, where it was just me, him, and another person. And at one point, he goes, "Hey man, like, can you set up the ring by yourself?" And I'm just like. I'm still like 13, 14 years old, and I've only set up a ring twice. And I was like, he's like, I promise if you get it done, you'll get in the ring. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I set up this wrestling ring by myself at 13 years old. And so like ever since then, like I had an image in my head, like I'm going to be a professional wrestler one day. Like this is where I could finally become a wrestler, or I could get into the independent scene. And my only thing in my wrestling was I just wanted to have one match. So that's how I got discovered and wanted to become a professional wrestler, was finding an independent in my area.
Okay, first of all, I'm just stunned because I've helped put together a ring with maybe 10 to 15 people, and it's a struggle. And I'm just trying to imagine a 13-year-old kid. That's dedication. That's somebody who loves it before they've even got in the ring. Man, that's awesome.
Dude, like, he just dangled this huge, like, treat in my head, like, hey, you're going to get into a wrestling ring. And in my head, I was like, the second I get into a wrestling ring, like, I know if I want to be meant for this. Like, I know, like, if I get into the wrestling ring and I feel it, I'll know. And it took me, I'd probably say, a year and a half of setting up a ring. Like, as soon as shows ended, I was the guy that was at the ring taking it all down. Like, in the one company, like, in Indiana, like, I love my state to death. I rep Indiana. Like, I have a tattoo of Indiana on my leg because I have a leg sleeve. I love my state to death. I love Indiana wrestling. Like, it's my passion. Me, Jonathan, Sean, we're IFHY out of Indianapolis. We're just like the young guys coming out of Indianapolis right now, just trying to put the state in our back. But Indiana does have a lot of bad wrestling companies. Like, we're the few good that we do have, and we do have a few good ones. There's like, for one good one, there's 5, 7 bad ones. And the one I was at was just a bad wrestling company. But in my head, I had built this image in my head that this company's going to help me get to where I wanted to in wrestling. So, of course, I'm going to be the guy that's setting up the string no matter what and doing whatever I'm told. So for this company, I was a ring announcer, a referee, a commentator, bell time. I ran all the gear back, and then I did live commentary, like on a microphone that was over like the speakers during the show. And I was like 13, 14 at this time. So I was pretty dedicated, and I really wanted to become a wrestler. So that's how crazy me getting into wrestling was.
That is definitely, we've never heard a story like that before, but that's pretty fucking cool. Now, did you started your training with that promotion about a year and a half afterwards, or did you go somewhere else to train?
All right, so here's a fucked up portion of that story. So the guy kept telling me, hey, he's like, I'm not going to train you at all until you're 16. He goes, your 16th birthday. He goes, $500, I'll train you. In my head, I was like, fuck yeah, like bet. I'm 14 and a half. My dad always made a deal like with me and my older siblings, like either you get a sweet 16 party or you get $500. Well, $500 is trying to become a wrestler, and I get $500 for my birthday. Like the money adds up. So in my head, I'm like, yes, like this is what I fucking want. It's adding up. I'm going to do everything I want. I'm going to say, all these people at my school that make fun of me, like, fuck them. I'm going to do it. I'm going to rub it in their faces. So eventually I get in the ring for the first time, and I was like, I literally got stood in the middle of the ring. I was probably like 15, and I got goosebumps. And I was just like, ooh, boy. Like, and I didn't touch the ropes, like, besides getting in them. I didn't try to run off the ropes because, like, I was still intimidated by it. I still held a respect for the ring. Like, it was sacred to me. Like, that was where, like, the big people got into the ring. And I was like, okay, this is freaking awesome. And then, so my 16th birthday comes around. The guy on my 16th birthday, the promoter, we're going to call him D-Crap. The D-Crap. Like, it's just a spit off of his name, but we're going to call him D-Crap. The promoter, he messages me on my 16th birthday. Didn't say happy birthday, didn't say nothing. He goes, hey, man, do you have that $500? If so, I have a contract to bring by to you. And I'm dumb. I'm 16 years old. This guy has a contract for me in training or whatever, and I'll just go through all of it. But he shows up at my doorstep when I was 16, and he goes, hey, man, it was like a little piece of paper, and he had a frame, and like a fake contract bullshit, whatever, and that like said I was a trainee or whatever, and like without even reading the contract, I just fucking signed it, gave him the $500 because I'm dumb. Like
No, you're 15, man.
I'm 20 years old. I'm just now maturing. But
you got ways to go. Don't worry.
I'm 33.
But, yeah.
I don't. Nah.
I mean, we ain't there yet either. Yeah. So it takes a lot longer nowadays.
Yeah, so, I signed a contract. Well, the contract states, for the first year I won't be able to wrestle. Second year, like, I'm only allowed to wrestle for that company. The third year, I'm allowed to get bookings through my trainer. Like, he gets 30 or 40% of whatever I get paid for my bookings. The fourth year was I could get my own bookings, but he got 20% of whatever I made. And then after that, like, I could do whatever I want. I didn't read the fucking thing. Like, if the guy held me to it to this day, which, looking at it, it's not illegally. He did not get it checked out by any lawyer. Like, it wasn't held in a court of law. But, it's mind-blowing to me that I wouldn't get released from this thing until this coming August.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to go shoot the guy a text, like, hey, I'm free, motherfucker. What's up? But he had all these outrageous things. But in my head, I was like, man, I just wanted to train to be a wrestler. Like, this shit is what I want. So I go to my first training session, which he sends me an address. I'm driving, and it's the backwoods of my hometown. And I'm driving, and, like, my dad's with me because I only had my permit at the time. He's like, where are we going? I was like, oh, man, it's going to be like a training facility. It'll be inside. Well, I pull up to this modular, which is like a trailer home, and I was just like, fuck. Okay. I look to the left of this modular, and his side yard, not even his backyard, but in his side yard is the wrestling ring. It's built up with the ropes dangling loose, and there's leaves all over it. It's just dirty. And I'm like, but in my head, I'm still like, man, I'm going to train to be a wrestler. Fuck it. I'll do whatever it takes. And the guy just, like, he taught me how to throw a clothesline, how to take a suplex. He taught me how to bump. He taught me how to run the ropes. And he taught me basically how to get eliminated from a battle royal. And, we had 2 or 3 training sessions. It was supposed to be, like, a 2 years worth of it. We only had 2 or 3 training sessions, and then he ghosted me.
What?
I was 16 years old. I've been helping him since I was 13. I've set up his rings multiple times. I took care of everything. I did his video editing because I'm able to do that. I did video editing, like recap shows for his thing. I filmed his shows, which I forgot to add in on that. I did all the commentary, did all the rest bullshit, and I still got screwed over at 16 for $500, which was a lot to me as a kid. And $500 to this day is still a lot.
Yeah.
But you got to think of me as a 16-year-old in high school. That's a lot of money.
I mean, it's still that's a good chunk of money to just throw away on 3 sessions like that. I mean,
yeah.
What happened? Did you go show back up to his trailer?
No, I would message him hey, when's the next day? And he'd be like, oh, well, we're gonna try to do this. Or I'd be like, I kept hitting him up and hitting him up and hitting him up, and he's always finding these bullshit excuses to give me a run around. I'm like, dude, the fuck's going on, man? So now then he stopped running shows altogether. Didn't talk to me or anything. Didn't say, hey, you only did this much. if he would have been like, hey, I can't refund you all the money, but I can give you like $50 back, like that'd have been cool. You know what I mean? But no, like he completely like ghosted me and was a shitty human being.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, so like for like the longest time, like I held a grudge against wrestling. But then what really got me into wrestling, a company called Infinity Pro out of Bloomington. A company from Infinity Pro called Infinity Pro came out of Bloomington, and there's guys like the OI 4K, guys like Michael Elgin, Sammy Callahan, Drake Younger. Jake something was a part of a tag team called the Painkillers. You know, Hakeem Zane, Congo Kong, they were all part of this company. And like that was like the first like true like super indie, I guess you could say, was in Indiana. And like I went to the front. My friends convinced me to go to that show when I was like 17. So like it's only a year, but like that year I was so bitter towards wrestling. And I sat in the front row of that show, and the production was on point. The entranceway was on point. The wrestling was amazing. And I had that moment where I just sat in that front row and I was like, man, what the fuck am I doing in my life? Like, I'm 17 years old. I'm young enough to go out there and try for this. And eventually, like, that's the night I went up to the promoter who used to be a really close personal friend of mine, Donnie Tsunami. I was like, look, man, I want to wrestle. I was like, I don't fucking care who. Just point me in the direction. And he said, there's a guy named Billy Rock who runs the School of Rock, or there's a guy named Mikey Guess who runs the New Wave Pro Training Center. I chose Mikey Guess at New Wave Pro, and I ended up training there, and I graduated, I'm coming up on 3 years, so I graduated March of 2015, so I trained from December to March.
All right, that's awesome though.
Sorry.
You were
I go
able.
on tangents.
No, it's
No,
cool. No, that's what we want, man. That's content.
I mean, and you answered like a bunch of his questions in one awesome story.
You stole all my questions.
Like it's crazy. Your
I
mind
spent a
reading.
lot of time on these questions.
I've done a few of these. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's cool, man. We're just messing with you. But obviously, two things from that you kind of got one of like the biggest life lessons out of the way at 16. You know, with that whole situation,
Right.
And you're gonna run into shitty people. Sometimes you're gonna hold grudges, but look where you are now. You know, you were able to get to a better place. You're doing great. You know, I've got the chance to catch you in the ring through YouTube, and for 20 years old, it's amazing what you can do, and you can see that there's a dedication there.
Absolutely, like, you know, like, I've been tested, like, in my head, I've been tested plenty of times, like, I just put, like, you know, I got a really good scholarship offer to Indiana State University. I was 18, and I chose wrestling over going to college, because, like, I didn't want everything go out, like, what if, you know what I mean? Like, if my body ever breaks down, then I can understand, because, like, hey, I wrestled, I tried, but my body couldn't handle it. That's the only ever excuse, like, I'm ever going to have to stopping this, you know what I mean? So, like, whenever I had the option of going to college or just chasing after wrestling, like, I'm always going to choose wrestling. You got to follow what you're passionate about in life. Like, you're only going to live once, you know what I mean?
Depending on what you believe, you might come back as a butterfly.
Hey, you know, I don't want to be a butterfly, bro.
Well, you can.
I want to be, what's those killer fish called? They're always in the movie.
Sharks?
They accuse like 6 people fingers. No, not sharks. They're like little itty fish, but they tear shit up.
Oh, a piranha. Yeah.
Piranha. I want to be a piranha. That shit sounds wild.
Yeah. I mean, you just go around eating dead fish all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not as wild as the movies make them out to be.
But if you like piranhas, you might be interested in barracudas.
Barracuda.
That's like a big piranha in the ocean. It's like the fastest
Look, I just
fish.
want to tear shit up, bro.
Yeah, no, they got like the sharpest teeth, and they can like ram into, like, they swim in shallow water and ram into people's legs and knock them down and chew them up, and people, you know, get pissed. Like, I don't think they kill a lot of people, but they hurt them. You know, they're tough fish.
Hey, I'm intrigued. You got me interested.
Yeah, they're pretty badass. And what are they, Arapunde or whatever? The fish in the Amazon River.
Arapundu?
Yeah, they swim into things because they got like solid skulls, and they just smash them and knock them out.
Where the fuck am I?
I saw it on River
All right,
Monsters.
fair enough.
Jeremy Wade. Let's go fishing. He's awesome. You watched that show? You like to fish? You said that?
What was that?
The River Monsters?
Yeah. No, I thought you said something about East Austin. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's awesome. Jeremy Wade.
I got you.
That guy. Why? What about East Austin? What do you know about what's going on down there?
Oh, no, I see East Austin on a regular thing. That's why I was like, wait, what? Where did he just get popped up from?
I just didn't
Who?
know.
Wait, yeah, who is this?
Ace Austin, he was a guy from Philadelphia, New Jersey area that moved down to Dayton, Ohio to live with Dave Chris.
Okay.
He's a wrestler, man. That's what he's saying.
I got it.
He's
Yeah,
a
no.
really good wrestler.
I got it.
He just got it back from a tour of Mexico where he won a belt, so that's pretty cool.
I just didn't know how we got on all these fish, and like he's just pulling out names of fish. Well, I knew how we got on fish. We're
It
talking
has to
about
do with
piranhas.
me.
Because
like,
we were talking about
slurring.
like piranhas and I think we just left off where like I got into wrestling.
No, I wasn't even worried about that. I was more worried about the piranhas. I had a point about the piranhas. They're a lot more docile than you think. Like they don't just attack like they do in the movies.
Yeah, but I can dream. Okay, I can dream.
All right, you can dream. I'm not going to kill anybody's dreams. That's not what this show is. Actually, the opposite of that.
I would hope not, because I just want to be a piranha.
You could be a piranha, man.
Is that going to be the next gimmick, to be a piranha?
Oh, yo, piranha would be a cool name.
Piranha Man.
Just piranha.
Piranha boy, but I feel like there's like a lot of like gray areas that could be crossed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a bad idea.
You a piranha boy? I'm going to make you a piranha man.
You can do that with anything that you add boy to, then.
Oh.
Like,
I'm not that clever.
All my friends are dead.
So before the dreams of being a piranha, you finally get into a good school, you know. What was the most challenging thing you think for you during all of training?
Just not to get in my own head, like, so my training, you know, usually most schools, you know, your training is 3 to 5 days a week. Our training was only like 1 day a week. We did training on Sundays, and it only lasted like 2 hours. And I know at least like, I think I probably trained 16 times, like altogether, because like I understood the basics of bumping, I understood the basics of running ropes, I understood the basics of how to move around in the ring. But I didn't know like how to do the movesets. I didn't know how to like splice together a match. I didn't know psychology or anything of that nature. So that was very easy to teach. Like I caught on to things very easily. And then I think the hardest thing I had to understand was I needed to learn to walk before I ran, and that's something like for like the first probably 100 matches I had, like I never like really thought about like why I was doing things. I was just like, man, this is cool. Like I want to do like a backflip to the outside, like do the outside moonsault to the outside with nobody there to catch me. I'm going to land on my feet because it's a cool pop. But like there's no reason for it. There's no rhyme or reason for it. I just messed up my knees. I'm at 20 years old. I'm paying for that right now. So like the hardest thing for me was to understand that like wrestling's not just always about cool moves. There's a story behind everything.
And is there a particular moment when that clicked for you that not only is it about the moves, but it's also about the story being told?
The closest moment that we have was probably the first time I wrestled Sami Callihan, the 20th anniversary show for IWA Mid-South. Sami Callihan was, if you ever looked at me from wrestling from the day I started or anything like that, like I wanted to be Sami Callihan. Like Sami Callihan was my idol. Him and John Moxley were the reasons why I even wanted to begin wrestling. Like, there's a whole bunch, like anything Sami Callihan related. Like that's what I wanted to do. So when I wrestled Sami Callihan the first time, I was thinking like, oh, we're gonna have all these cool spots with, I want to go tick for tack for Sami. Like he's gonna go walk in the stretch muscle, but I'm not gonna let him. We're gonna do this and that. And like I saw him, and he's like, look, no, like this is why we do stuff. This is, he's like, he's like, he beat the hell out of me, but like I understood, there's a reason why we do everything in wrestling. Sami Callihan taught me ring psychology, in a sense. I learned from him, why we do things, why we don't do things, and to this day, like one of my big mentors of, how to do things correctly.
That's awesome. So it almost seems like with you, it kind of wasn't like, a lot of people that go through like an actual school for a couple of years, but you kind of just hit the ground running, kind of got more of the experience right in the ring, doing the moves and learned the psychology, learned why you're doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like honestly, like it's not the truth. I mainly learned on the fly. Like I came out of my school way too early. Like I had maybe 12 training sessions, and they taught that NBSp Pro. Like they did their best. I was just a kid that had no patience. Like I was just like, hey, I want to try to wrestle. Hey, I want to try to wrestle. Eventually, like there was a kid's birthday show. I wrestled. I didn't get anything in. I think I got one punch. I threw one punch in this entire match. So I mean, I took the entire match. But like, all I cared about was just wrestling. Like, that's all I wanted to do. Nobody was ever going to tell me different. So I had one match. I had another match for this company. I had like 3 matches in the span of 3 months. But I was like, man, that's not enough. Like I want to wrestle like 2-3 times a week. So I ended up sending a whole bunch of messages to promoters, which on my end, it was my fault because, like, it's a respect thing. You ask your trainers first before you do anything. Like, but I didn't ask my trainers. I just started sending messages to promoters like, hey, I would like to get on this show and that show. And before I knew it, like, I had a full calendar for the next 3 months. Well, my trainer was like, hey, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're not going to talk to me about this? And I'm like, hey, man, like, you're not giving me the opportunity to wrestle. You know, all I want to do is wrestle. Like, I want to learn how I can be the best at this shit. Like, this isn't just a game to me. And he's like, so I ended up getting kicked out of my home promotion. And then ever since probably August of 2015, I've wrestled at least 3 times a week, minus a 4-week span where I had a really serious concussion. And then a 2-week span where I nearly broke my ankle. I had the worst sprain a doctor has seen in like her 25 years of experience, that she doesn't understand. Like, there's like no way that I didn't shatter my ankle, which she said it would have been a lot better because I still can't run properly to this day. I had a really bad shoulder injury, which, if you look at my shoulders, my right shoulder dips about an inch lower than my left shoulder does. Like, that's, you know, I've been plagued with I've had a few injuries, but other than that, like, I'm wrestling 3 to 4 to 5 times a week. I'm wrestling from Tuesday all the way to Sunday sometimes. So I don't know, man. Like, I've been trying to keep myself busy. I thought now.
Well, it definitely seems to be paying off for you. Like I said earlier, I did get a chance to catch some of your matches, and I was kind of thrown back that you're only 20 years old with some of the stuff that you were doing in the ring, and now it kind of all makes sense with you kind of just taking everything as it comes at you and really not letting anything stand in your way. And I mean, you have had to pay with it with a few injuries, but I think that kind of goes back to you always trying to mix it up, learn new things, and when you're kind of learning on the fly, it can make things a little more dangerous than they usually are.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I learned on the fly. Like, I went up and started wrestling every Friday night at a company called WCWO, which is like my home fed. Like, that is where I grew up from. I grew up from a guy that didn't understand who he was. You know, every week I was throwing shit at the wall and seeing what would stick. Then I found out, you know, I found out who I was from this company, and I learned from guys like Jonathan Wolf and Sean Kemp, who are like my best friends. They're only like, Jonathan's a year younger than me, but he's been wrestling since he's like been 12, because he's the only third generation superstar in the state, or only third generation wrestler in the state of Indiana. Sean Kemp's a second generation wrestler, and they both have wrestled since they've been 12. I've been lucky enough to have them as my best friends, who like helped me get a good foundation for my career. And then ever since then, like, I moved to Dayton, Ohio for like 4 months to learn under Dave Chris. I've had guys like Sammy Callahan give me like pointers, guys like Jay Chris help, you know, always just giving me advice. You know, I know Trey Miguel, you know, Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz, like all these guys, you know, I've been able to like pick their brains and learn something from. And I think one of the things I really pride myself on is, like, no matter who you are, I'm always going to ask your opinion. Like, there are wrestlers that come out of the new wave pro, and like I will toot my own horn and say I'm the biggest guy to come out of new wave pro, like, as a trainee. Like, other than me, like, they have their like local guys that wrestle for their just new wave and maybe like 1 or 2 more companies. Yeah, I'm the only guy from new wave pro that goes out and does all these shows. But I still ask the new wrestlers that come out of their academy, like, hey, like, what did you think of my match? And they're usually like, it was awesome, cool. And I'm like, no, like, don't give me like a BS, like, hey man, like, your stuff is cool. Like, what do you think of it? They're like, well, you know, this thing looked weird, because they have a different perspective. Everybody in wrestling has a perspective. Wrestling is art. Wrestling and art is all about how you see things. How you see things is all about your perspective. I might look at a shade of blue, and you'll see something. You might see light blue where I see like a dark blue. You know what I mean? So I try to get everybody's different perspective, and that way I can mold it all into something that everybody can see and understand. That's what being able to learn on the fly has given me, is I'm able to add things to my mold to make myself the best professional wrestler that I can be.
Right, like, you know, pick up the best traits along the way and just have a nice repertoire.
Hopefully I'm not rambling like a madman. Like, cut me off if I am.
You're good, man.
Perfect, dude.
People want to hear you speak. They get enough of us on the social medias and the show, so nobody wants to listen to us. They want to hear from you. But that is cool, like, you know, like you said, kind of picking up everything and going back to what you said at the beginning of the show about being a hybrid, you know?
I actually like to call it video game style. You know, you pick up a bunch of different traits along the way. You mold your character as you go.
Yeah.
Another one of his meta metaphors. Now, we kind of touched on what you've been able to do with your in-ring abilities. The other piece of the puzzle is the promo skills. How have you worked to develop that?
Oof. That's definitely like one of my like weak points is because like I'm a very open, like fun, relaxed person to people that I've met. But, like talking has always been one of my hardest things. And at this point, like still to this day, like I always, every time I drive to a show, like I drive 3 hours one way to Rockstar every week. I drive 2 hours one way to IWA every week. I drive 1 hour to WCWO or Rockstar again almost every week. So it's like I'm always talking to myself in my car. One of my best friends is Landon Jackson. He'll sit in the car with me, and I'll just start spewing a promo out of nowhere. He'll be like, "Man, what the fuck's wrong with you?" And I'm just like, "Dude, just like I need to just practice on this because it's like what's one of my weakest points, honestly. Like I'm not the best at promos, but I'm willing to learn and willing to adjust as much as I need to.
And better to recognize it at 20, and know that it's something that you have to work on instead of thinking that you're already, the best wordsmith there is.
And I mean, if you're willing to learn this stuff, you could always, take some like public speaking or even like acting classes and just to help with that.
Yeah, like I took like I tried out for theater in my high school, and I was part of a thing called Jobs for America's Graduates in JAG, which is a high school thing that like helps students get jobs. And like I was always the guy that was like, hey, like I want to do a job interview. And they're like, why? I was like, because I want to be able to pitch myself to somebody. And in my head, like I knew that the reason why I was doing this, and I focused so hard on this, is that way when I became a wrestler, I could pitch myself to people. And now within the past year. And to give credit where credit's due is like Dave Chris, because I used to go by Infinite Cole Radrick because I love the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Infinite's kind of their like whole like gimmick. Right. Dave Chris was the guy that coined me as Kinetic Cole Radrick, and ever since then, like that sparked a snowball of me finally being able to find out who I was as a performer. And now I'm at that point where I feel like I can pitch myself to any company. And I've sent my resume to like a whole bunch of companies, and some people have got back to me, some people never heard from some people. I got a whole bunch of no's, but like the thing is one day like I'm gonna get on a show and people will see me and they'll know like I'm the legit thing. I guess I know that's gonna sound super shitty me to say, but like I know what I'm capable of. I know that if I get the opportunity to shine on a show, like professional or like Pro Wrestling Revolver, Sammy Callahan's baby, but that's now one of the best shows that of Mania weekend, which was Pancakes and Pile Drivers. I've done 4 of their scramble matches, and like I feel like every time I've been in one, I've shown that I could hang on a major show. So now I'm just waiting for the opportunities to be like for an AIW or an AAW or something along those lines to show like, hey, Cole Radrick isn't just something goofy. Like I'm somebody that I feel like a company can invest in. I will never let somebody tell me different.
You're exactly right, and don't ever say it makes you shitty because you're confident in yourself. Because if you're not confident in yourself, nobody else is gonna believe in you. So I mean, the fact that you already have that drive is good. Yeah. Like
dude, like I spent most of my life doubting myself. It's been probably it's something I'm bipolar depressive, like a medical condition. It's like everything's like in my mind, everything's usually battling against me. But like I've got to a point now where it's like, dude, fuck it, whatever anybody says about me. The second I get in the ring and I get the opportunity to show who I am, like I'm going to be undeniable. Whatever it takes, I'll be undeniable. That no matter what happens after I wrestle, people will not be able to get me out of their head. So that's my entire mentality of things nowadays.
Now, normally my next question would be what keeps you driven, but this entire interview, you've already explained that. So, I mean...
Oh, yeah, like, what keeps me driven is, I love wrestling. People... There have been people that have questioned it, but here's the thing. If I didn't love wrestling, the shit that I deal with, and not only my mental health, but I work, 40 hours a week just so I can make enough ends to go wrestle 4 nights a week. I work my ass off. I'm getting back into the gym. I had a knee injury. I'm working on getting that fixed. I'm trying to get my body back into the shape that it needs to be in. But I have a point to fucking prove. It may not be this year, but by the end of this year, people will know who I am. I want to be a guy that when people see my name, they're like, oh yeah, he's He's that guy that's on the come up. Like, no matter what it takes, like, I will be one of the most talked about wrestlers. Like, that is my goal. That is my destiny. That's what I was put on this earth to do. I don't care what anybody else says. It's what I'm going to do. God, I sound like a cocky asshole, but I don't care.
No,
Stuff right now.
You know, I was just gonna say, actually, that makes you sound more like an artist. Like, everything you're doing outside of art or outside of the ring is striving and building towards doing something in the ring or doing more art.
Absolutely. Like, this is, like, you know, I'm lucky enough I have a decent job that sets me up with, I was able to buy a new car, pay cash, not a brand new car, but like a new car to me. I was able to pay cash in hand for it. I'm able to, like, get by. I'm able to afford food to meal prep. You know, I'm able to eat clean and, you know, have supplements and everything. So now it's just on me, like, to do whatever I want to do with this. Like, when I started wrestling, all I ever wanted to do was I just wanted to have one match. And I've had more than one match. I can now look at that 12-year-old kid or that 13-year-old kid in the eyes who set up rings and dealt with D-craps bullshit for the longest time. I can look at that kid in the eyes and be like, look, you did what you wanted. Now it's time to do what I want to do, and that's what I want to do at 20 years old. I want to be a name that people want to talk about, a name that people have to talk about.
Good for you, man. I mean, I think going back to what you said, not, you know, doubting yourself, I think finding wrestling, well, you obviously knew from the first time you saw it, this was something you wanted to do, but finding it and being able to build confidence in yourself and having a place where you can go and kind of just escape the world for yourself, the same way a lot of fans go to the show.
Absolutely, you know, like, I love seeing people at shows. I love seeing fans. I love looking into, like, people's eyes and seeing that they're invested in it. Even if it's not my match, I'll always watch almost every match on the card because I can look at the fans' eyes and I see how involved they are, and, like, that brings me happiness. Because I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have hardly any friends when I was, like, younger. Like, all I ever had was wrestling. Like, I never went. I could honestly count on how. I could tell you, I never went to one varsity basketball or football game as a kid. Like, all I ever did was I just stayed home and watched wrestling because I didn't connect with the people. I didn't connect with kids my age. I didn't have friends because I didn't know how to connect. Through wrestling, I was able to have friends. If I didn't have wrestling, I probably wouldn't have friends in general, honestly. But now I'm surrounded by all these people that share the same love and passion for me, and when I can see it in their eyes that they're invested in, you know, that makes me happy because that's the same thing that saved my life as a kid. So now, you know, one of the main things that drive me is, like, I see whenever I wrestle, I look into a kid's eyes and I see the kid is invested in what I'm doing. Like, that's all I ever need. That's all I ever want is I'm able to have that effect that somebody else had on me as a kid. I'm able to give that to somebody else. That's all I ever wanted. I'm able to do that 3 to 4 times a week. Like, if I were to die tomorrow, I would die with a smile on my face. But I guess what? I'm not done yet.
That's awesome, though. You know, a lot of people, I mean, you could say that and be satisfied because you've gone out and lived your dream. You know, what's the quote? It's better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years locked in a room.
Yeah, I mean, like,
exactly.
I was gonna say, it's like I get a little jealousy there. Like, you know, you're only 20 years old. You got your life's passion. You are working. You got it going. This is like what you want to do with your life. You know, I'm fucking 30 years old. I work a desk job. It's great, and that's my career. But, you know, it's fun.
No, like, man, look at, like, you know, I have something kind of similar to that, but, like, it's not bad, man. You know, like, I don't want to be a weekend warrior for the rest of my life. Like, I want to make a living to this. Like, I feel like if I do the right things within the next few years, like, I'm going to be doing very, very well. And again, I found this self-belief in myself. I've had guys that have had my back who have seen me put myself down over and over again. And they're just like, Cole, like, get it together, dude. Like, look in the mirror and know you're the shit. And now I'm like, you know what? I have flaws. I know what they are, and I'm working on them. I'm going to keep working on them. And then every person that's ever told me, like, you're never going to make a living off of this, and you're never going to have an impact on somebody's life through this. I've already done that. So guess what? Now it's all about me showing what I want to do.
Right, you
Just following your dream, man.
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Think about it. I
mean,
13 years old, you know, putting rings together. You're 20 years old. You've seen a lot of stuff.
Now you're tearing rings apart.
tearing rings and buildings apart, baby.
All right, guys, so this is a public service announcement. The Gimmick Table is looking for a new co-host.
You've said that before, and nobody's applied, for the record.
They've applied, just that they weren't as good as you.
Oh, what?
It's not saying that you're good. It's just saying they weren't as good as you.
They must have been like garbage.
Wait, are you trying to replace them? Damn.
He always tries to replace him.
About every 7 episodes, I put a
You should see him be commissioner of a fantasy football league. Like, oh, league's canceled. I'm canceling this league because you won't trade with me.
I've never
Like
done
stuff
that.
like that. Yeah, you have.
not over a trade, over ridiculous stuff.
Like
People
trades.
not paying their fees
Oh, well.
on time.
Yeah, well, you got the money eventually,
Yeah,
and you didn't win, so it's not like you had to worry about it.
Yeah, but I had to pay out of my. See what I have to deal with, man.
You know, I don't do all this fantasy football stuff. I did the NCAA bracket for the first time this year, and I'm probably never going to do it again.
That is like a tense, like, especially if you're not really someone who follows the basketball a lot, like me.
Oh no, I follow basketball. I follow basketball, football. I follow all the sports, but
See, I follow
don't
football,
get that
but
invested into it.
like the basketball, I don't follow as much during the season, just only during the tournament. So like if I do a bracket, it's like I don't really know what I'm doing, so it gets really tense, and I'm just hoping that I magically picked the right order.
I finished within like the top 100,000 on like the ESPN bracketology thing or whatever. Like I felt pretty badass because there's like 15 million people and still finished within the top 100,000.
Yeah, no, a lot of people got knocked out early this year. What was that one school that was like a really low seed?
First 16. It was the 16th seed versus the number 1 seed. It was the first time it ever happened.
Yeah, like UMNH or something.
Now you kind of touched on this for the kind of looking at the next few years. What it really is your goal? Is it WWE? Is it kind of going international, Ring of Honor? Where would you like to see yourself, say, in the next 3-4 years?
Next 4 years, I want to be one of the. That's a good question. I definitely want to be international, but there's a lot of good things that are going my way to where that might be a thing that happens this year. I just want to keep having an impact on people, man. I want to keep myself interested. I want to keep people interested in me. I want to keep being a guy that promoters, when they look at me, they're like, okay, he can do whatever he needs. I want to be able to work for any company and be able to help that. Like, I'm not, of course, I'm not a gift to wrestling by any means. I'm not supposed to say, but I want to be able to be a good, successful add-on to that company. I want to be able to give something to the company. I just want to continue to be a good person. I want to continue to stick to myself. I want to continue on this, positive thinking of like, I'm going to do this shit for me because this is what I want to do. So internationally, I want to wrestle. I would like to, maybe get a tryout or something along the lines. I'd like to just get my name out there more. That's all I want to do, is get my name out there more. People know who I am, and they know that, this isn't a joke to me. This is who I am. Like you said, you watched me, you said on YouTube like a few times, but like you became entranced. Like, I want to have this effect on people for years to come.
Can't argue with that, man. I mean, that's awesome that, not only is it doesn't seem that it's all just about you either. I obviously that exists anywhere you go in any profession, but there's also, you want to be a team player. You understand that, yes, you have an opponent, but the two of you are working together. For the company to work, we got to set up the ring. You got to put your dues in, as they say.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Like, it's not just showing up, like 10 minutes before the show starts and doing your match and then going home. Like, there's so much more to it. There's so much more. Like, if I'm on a company where there's a good camera guy, like there's a camera, like a roam cam where a guy's holding the camera, like I'll talk to him like, hey man, here's a good angle that you might be able to get something out of my match for. I want to be able to, on every side of the coin, I want to be able to be like, I want to be successful. I want to be successful in every part of wrestling. That's where I'm at, Mike. My life. It's like, I want to be the best at anything and everything I can be, or at least be the best I can be at that, whatever it may be.
Definitely never lose that, man. Never lose that mentality that you have. Now, how can our fans, if they want to go check you out, how can they get a hold of you on social media?
Hey, man, my social media is super easy to remember. I am at Cole Radrick on Twitter, at Cole Radrick on Facebook, at Cole Radrick on Snapchat, because I'm hilarious. I'm Cole Radrick on Facebook, so anything Cole Radrick, that's all you got to do. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
You got a monopoly on the at Cole Radricks.
Hey, I know. I was like, hey, man, name's not taken all the way through.
That's always nice.
So I can just put the little text on my photo, and I can put the little Instagram, Facebook, Twitter little emblems on there, and I'm set.
All right, man. When can we see you in the ring after that?
On the 30th of April, you can see me at the, you can see at June 23rd, the Dynamite Cup in Lafayette, Indiana. You can see me almost every Friday at WCWO. Every Wednesday, you can see me at Rockstar Pro Wrestling. Every Thursday and some given Saturdays, you can see me at IWA Mid-South in Memphis, Indiana. And everywhere else, I'll be posted on my Facebook or my Twitter or my Instagram, where you can be finding me at. But almost every week I will be at Rockstar Pro, IWA Mid-South, and WCWO Wrestling in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Awesome, man. We'll definitely make sure to keep an eye on your feed so we can retweet and share that stuff for you as well. Now, before we let you go, we're going to unhinge the gimmick table, and Bats is going to take it away and tell you all about it.
We're just going to do a small little unhinged. But, we talked about the Three Ninjas earlier.
I were hoping we were going with Alex.
Yeah, yes, we sure did.
So, to extend this, actually, because I came up with a short one. So, first, out of the Three Ninjas, which one do you think yourself would be?
I'm definitely Tum Tum.
And if you were
Definitely
painted,
Tum Tum. You did say that earlier.
Yeah.
Tum Tum.
Yes.
Tum Tum.
All right, so for this half, I would like your buddies, your wrestling buddies in the indie circuit, who would be Rocky and Colt and Grandpa, and then we'll go ahead and flip it to your favorite pro wrestlers, who would be those four people.
Okay, the pro wrestlers are going to be the hard one. Rocky would definitely be Jonathan Wolf. Colt would definitely be Sean Kipp. Grandpa's going to be Joey Owens for sure. That's
your crew.
That's what it's going to be.
That's it right there. All right, so the pro wrestlers here.
I don't. That's again. They're all three pro wrestlers. Like that would be the same answer, honestly.
Yeah,
I
got you.
Tricked on that one. Actually.
Well, all right. So
one right there.
You effectively shortened the unhinged, because I don't really know what else to do.
It by any means, but that's because like they're all wrestlers. Like there's no it's an easy answer. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't there's nobody else I see like that. When I think of the Three Ninjas, I always think of me, Sean, and Jonathan.
No, that's cool. That's perfect.
Yeah,
and you guys should do it. You should do it. Do the Three Ninjas. Be the Three Ninjas.
I mean, if we didn't have the whole, town of Indianapolis rioting against us almost every Friday night, I would definitely try. But, we usually get shit thrown at us on every Friday night at WCWO.
That's cool.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty fun.
It gets pretty wild. It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. WCWO's ran this little garage, and I'm in, the suburbs of Indianapolis, and it's like, only people that hear about it and know about it. It's kind of like a weird Fight Club vibe.
Underground indie.
Yeah, it's like an underground.
Fight Club.
It's super cool. Yeah, there are people. We've sold out the building. The building holds. Okay, so mind you, the building only holds 175 people. But it's if we put 100 people in there, it seems like it's packed. You're close up. And so when we pack 175 people in there, bro, this crowd is so loud. They're passionate about it. They believe in the characters. Now, is the wrestling the best in the world? No, it's not. But this crowd buys into it. And
it's intense.
That's the hidden treasure of Indianapolis or Indiana wrestling is how much the crowd really truly does buy into everything that we do.
Well, now you kind of just leaked a little bit of the underground secret for anybody in Indianapolis that's listening to this.
Yeah, exactly. 1151 Kentucky Avenue. Every Friday night, you'll go to WCWO. There's a big garage that says WCWO Wrestling. Trust me, if you want to get involved, if you want to see an awesome wrestling scene that doesn't get enough credit, you need to go to see WCWO. Make sure you show up there because they're every day by the time doors open at 6:30, there's already a line down the block, and that's usually about who can get in. I know for a fact that we've turned away people for the past 3 weeks.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
If I'm ever in the Indianapolis area, that sounds like a fun night.
Yeah, it really is. We have a fan that brings in a drum. My whole shtick is all my friends are dead. But I used Bliss Creek Bop. You know how that sounds? Hey, ho, let's go. They turned it into Hey, Cole, let's go.
All right.
Nice.
I like
so,
that.
We had we were supposed to, I make my entrance or whatever, and they keep singing the song, and they just keep going, hey, Cole, let's go. And to the point where, for 5 minutes after the bell rang, it was just me just standing in the middle of the ring with the song playing, and the crowd did not let up.
That's
it was
fucking
one
awesome.
of the coolest experiences of my life. I've never gotten goosebumps until that moment. And I was just like, damn, we got something good going on here in Indianapolis. If you're missing out on it, trust me, there's stuff on YouTube, there's stuff on Facebook, there's stuff on Twitter. WCW wrestling, like, it's nothing. It's really, really good. And I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but every Wednesday at Rockstar Pro is taking over the Midwest as professional wrestling. It's, you know, it is for our generation, by our generation, something Sammy Callahan believes in, something Jake Chris, something Dave Chris believes in, that Rockstar Pro is going to be taking over. Not only Rockstar Pro, but Wrestling Revolvers is going to take over the wrestling world. Like, it's awesome. Like, there's a lot of good things happening in the Midwest. I'm really just excited to see how all of them play out.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to be a part of them.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to be a part of that. Like, that's a movement.
Absolutely. Like, I love the fact that, you know, people think enough of me to allow me to be a part of this. Like, but not only do I just want to be a part of this, like, I want to contribute to this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be one of those guys that's like, not only am I in the, like, the back scenes, but I'm on the fucking front line, you know, fighting for this shit.
Like, when people talk about this years down the road as a movement, your name comes up as one of those key people in the movement.
Exactly. That's exactly what
Legacy.
I want to be like. You know, I'm just going to keep doing my thing until that becomes a thing. That becomes undeniably true, you know what I mean?
It's a good goal. Like I said, a legacy, man. Your name lives on.
Yep, exactly. I just want people to remember me. Whenever I'm done wrestling, whenever I'm too broken down or too old or something, and hopefully it doesn't happen to me too soon, or whatever, if it does, I just want people to remember me, either as somebody that was able to have an effect on their lives, or as a person or anything. Like, I just want to have a good effect on somebody one day.
It's definitely an awesome way to look at life, man. Even not just wrestling, but life in general, you know, just to do good.
Exactly. Professional wrestling saved my life as a kid. I just want to give somebody else the joy that wrestling gave me. That's all I ever wanted to do. No amount of money, no amount of fame, no matter what. Wrestling in front of 20,000 people. If I can give one kid, maybe even if it was a show in front of 5 people and there's one kid that I affected the way professional wrestling affected me as a kid, that's all I would ever want.
I mean, I'm sure you've probably already affected some kids who've come to the show. So you're well on your way to, you know.
I had a kid tell me I was his hero the other day in front of his dad, and I was just like, man, like that moved me. That made me, like, as soon as that kid walked away, I got a fly in my eye. I had to wipe my eye out. But, like, that shit, dude, like, when you have a kid looking, like, not only was he wasn't even, like a super young kid, like 4 or 5, like, he was, like, 9 or 10 years old, like, to where he could, like, have, like, a decent, like, thought process. Right. And when he told me that, I was like, wow, like, I have this effect on somebody, like, maybe I need to start looking at things as a bigger picture. That's where I started, having more of a confidence. Like, my kid has enough faith in me to see him as his hero. Like, why the fuck am I thinking less of myself?
I mean, hopefully he listens to this episode here, gets some more insight into you.
I mean, I hope he listens, like, in a few years, because I'm pushing up a storm.
Yeah, this is true.
If he's like, that might be it.
I don't need children learning cursing from us.
Yeah, I'm sure they're learning it from us, man.
That's what they're going to blame.
Whenever he's mature enough to hear this podcast, I hope he does. That
right, there we go.
But wrestling was meant to be fun. Wrestling was meant to be enjoyable. People sometimes get lost in the idea of we got to be big, badass wrestlers. Like, people, say always about how much money you're making. Like, at the end of the day, man, wrestling was meant to be fun. We all got into it because we fell in love with it. I just want to have that same effect on somebody one day. I just want to make somebody love this the way I do.
That's great, man. And we really hope that you do it. You definitely have one of the right mentalities for not just wrestling, but for the world in general. And from what you told us, we're definitely going to have to dive into more of Indiana wrestling, because it seems like you guys got a special gem down there. And special gem, that was
special gem down
We're leaving that one.
You're doing so well.
I was doing so well, and then I said special gem. Who says special gem? All right, guys.
Yeah, it's not only Indiana, Ohio for a rock wrestling revolver. Like, it's just the entire Midwest right now. Like, that's what's really going well.
Another announcement for the show, though, we're gonna have to make is we're looking for a new host.
God,
I'm firing everybody. I'm just gonna be the producer in the back.
Lord.
What are you gonna do?
Have mercy.
But thank you.
I ain't saying nothing.
But thank you, Cole. This was an awesome interview, and we appreciate you coming on. Had a lot of fun. Enjoyed the Alex Jones. And
you sound like a busy guy too. So hopefully we didn't take up too much of your time here.
No, you're fine. Like, it's 11 o'clock. Like, you know, IWA itself had their Miss Independent tournament today, so I had a free day.
Nice.
I've been meaning to get back with you guys because, you know, we tried to line up our schedules and nothing ever came out through. You know, I had a death in the family and stuff happened. But whenever you hit me up about, hey, you want to do something tonight? I was like, absolutely, tonight's the night. Like, this is perfect. Heck yeah.
Sweet.
I was excited. I was ready for it. I was wanting to do it. So I appreciate you guys, you know, letting me come on.
All right, everybody. That does it for us today here at the Gimmick Table. We appreciate you so much taking time out of your day to give us a listen. And a huge thank you to our guest today, Cole Radrick. What a fucking awesome story. 20 fucking years old, and this kid's drive is a million times larger than ours. I don't know if we feel so good after this episode. No, we're just kidding. We're great. It's awesome to have people on the show and see them living their dreams. That's why we do this. We want to help them in any way we can. So the best way that you can help them is by subscribing to our show, either on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasting fix from. It expands our reach. It gets our guest into more people's ears. And you can also interact with us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at @gimmick_table. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search the Gimmick Table Wrestling Podcast. And don't forget to check out our wonderful website, gimmicktablepod.com, where you can find all our wonderful shows. And Bats, since you kind of been hating on the PWO lately, you know, saying that you don't like, none of them is your favorite, you know, horrible things, I'm going to let you go ahead and give your shout out to our boys this week. So go ahead and take it away and support our friends at the Podcasting World Order.
Please support all of our friends in the PWO. They're available on all major platforms, including iTunes and Google Play. W&A Podcast, Wretched Wrestling, Smart Spot Podcast, Boar Meets World, and The Broadcast. They can all be yours for the low, low price of just going to one of those things to listen to the show.
And it was good up until the ad-libbing part, obviously. And that's our show. That's how we're going to end it. Have a great week, guys. We'll be back.
See ya.